In this video, we're going to talk about signs that your woman might be cheating on you. I have no tolerance for cheating. Let's just put it out there. I cannot stand it. Guys, 90% of the men who come into my program are dealing with somebody who's cheating on them. And they say, Ed, I want to get my wife back. I'm like, cool. Well, the only way you're going to get your wife back is you're going to have to become a fucking badass. So we can do that. We'll have you become this badass dude who absolutely knows how to seduce women and absolutely knows how to dominate his life. And then she will want to come back into your life. And you'll be like, but I got to do something. Like, I'm going to take her to marriage counseling. I'm going to take her to all these, we're going to talk about her problems. We have communication problems. Like, bro, you don't have any of those problems. You don't have communication problems. You don't need to give her flowers. You don't need to do more stuff around the house. You don't need to take her on a vacation or promise her a new house. You need to start operating differently. And I guarantee you, you operate differently and you become an attractive and enticing offer, she will solve all of your relationship problems. Yes, she will. You're like, my wife doesn't take accountability for anything. Yeah, because you're not a fucking prize. Why would she take accountability? Because she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to take accountability because she can get away with anything and you'll just put up with it. So why would she have to change? She don't have to change for you. In fact, you're not a prize. Why would she change for you? You would change for your wife. You're obviously doing it right now because you see your wife as a prize. You would do anything and change any way for your wife to stay with you. And see, that's leverage. And see, most guys who are being cheated on by their wives are lacking in a couple of areas, either dominance or connection. In this video, we're not going to talk about those. We're going to talk about the signs of cheating. But I want to put that preface in there because some of you guys need a little fire under your ass. If you're here crying and sad, full of anxiety, looking after her, look like GPS eyeball fucking your phone, then you're in a weak place. You're in a low, I know, I've been there. I was there back in 2015. I get exactly where you're at. It's the worst place to be. If you're even watching this video, you're probably thinking your wife's cheating on you or your girlfriend's cheating on you. You're trying to figure out what the truth is. And so if you're in this place, you don't have to be in this place. You just have a power problem. Power is not about dominating her. It's about being dominant in life. It's about getting clear on who you are and what you want, why you want it, why you're on this earth, and what we're going to do to make it fucking amazing, to have it all in life. And for the right guy who can do this, women seek him out. And he becomes a very powerful version of himself. And then all of a sudden, she finds him attractive again, and she wants to be part of his life. Guys always want to shortcut this process. We made it very quick. A couple weeks, 2 months, at the most 6 months. We made it very quick. The process is super fast. But you can't do it overnight because we have to let some thoughts and skill sets and mindsets marinate in your brain, and then we're going to have to do some stuff in the world to turn you into a powerful man. And you're going to have to actually put things into practice. You can't just be a mental masturbator with this stuff. You can't just look at a bunch of YouTube videos and expect to get better. You can't look at a YouTube video and feel like, how do I seduce my wife with polarity and get her on the perfect date? It's like, yeah, you can trick her for a night. And you'd be like, oh, I've got my wife back. We slept together. It's amazing. And then like the next day, she's just giving you the cold shoulder. Like, what the fuck happened, Ed? It's like, yeah, what'd you expect? You lied. You manipulated her. You didn't seduce her. You pretended to be something you weren't to get a quick result. And now she sees that you're a liar. And so you put another nail in the coffin of your marriage. Great fucking job, bro. But I know you're desperate, so you're willing to do anything. Are you desperate enough to actually transform into a powerful man who doesn't actually give a shit if she comes or goes? It's like, well, if I don't care if she comes or goes, then our marriage is over. Who said that? No, you can still get to this place where you break codependency and then have her come back. Most guys, though, when they get powerful, they don't necessarily want their wives back, but they at least have the option. Wouldn't you like the option? So anyways, if you want to know more about that, click in the description below for Soul Seducer. This is how you reinvent yourself. This is how you make the greatest fucking comeback of your life. Become this guy who was people-pleasing, needing approval from his wife. She cheated on him. He's chasing after her, to the guy who his wife is absolutely chasing him, completely devoted to him, appreciates him, constantly coming after him for sex, and takes accountability. Can you believe that? I watched. The comments below this are going to be like, I've never met a woman in my life ever take accountability for anything. It's like, yeah, bro, because you're not the guy that she'll be accountable for. There's no reason for her to change for you. It's never going to happen. That's why you're never seeing it in your life. And so you're playing this game of, positive reinforcement of just seeing this. Yeah, well, if you want to be a different kind of guy and you want to post that, if you want to post that in the comments below, just realize that you're the problem. But you don't have to be. You can change this shit for yourself. Anyways, let's get to this video. My name is Ed Baxter, and I help guys in betrayal situations. I've coached thousands of men. Tens of thousands of men have come through my doors in one form or another. I've had over 3,000 guys come through the Betray to Badass program. And that's what we do. We'll get you to that place where you make the right decision for you and your children. All right, she's always on her phone, secretive. So you'll see this, she'll on her phone, she'll kind of turn it to the side when you walk by. Maybe she'll put one of those polarized screens on there. It's like, what's with the polarized screen? Like, who are you trying to hide your phone from? You don't want everybody watching you play Candy Crush? Or are you getting on Insta? Or are you getting on, what's the one? Snapchat. That's the one, I never use Snapchat. I'm not a guy who likes to be secretive. So anyways, she hides her phone a lot. Why? Because she's communicating with somebody else, obviously. And she changed her passcode. Or like my good friend Ty, his woman, his ex-wife, when she was cheating on him, she would hide it under her pillow. It's like she kept it under her pillow so he'd never get a hold of it. And so guys will get this inkling like, oh, something's up, I gotta get into that phone, I gotta get into the phone and see what's happening. And it's like, yeah, you can do that if you want. You can get into her phone and you can break in there and see what's happening, get the evidence. I have the evidence. If I just present her with the evidence, she'll admit it. It's like, why are you being the police officer to your wife? That's insane. You know, you could take all that time and just become more powerful in yourself and ignore all the bullshit behavior, and she would probably turn around and come back to you. But most guys don't know how to do this. They don't know how to open her up. They don't know how to go into collision effectively. They don't know how to go into a collision with his wife and have it come into a productive conversation because he has no boundaries, which means he has no leverage in a relationship, which means you don't have to listen to him at all. And so this is where these fights last forever. He's like, why are you on your phone all the time? And then she's like, you're controlling. I can't have guy friends, and you just are jealous. And she gaslights him and all this stuff, and this fight lasts forever. And he's like, I don't understand. We just have these crazy long fights. It's like, yeah, because she's throwing shade at you. The fight's going to go on as long as possible until you let it go, because you're probably onto something. We don't have to get the evidence. We just have to watch the behavior. No, she's secretive with her phone, and she's more interested in her phone than her own kids, and she's on there giggling all the time, taking pictures of, oh, we know what's up. We know that she's more interested in her phone than everything else, so we're just going to make the moves to move towards that. Like, hey, this is what's happening. And she's like, hey, where is everybody? It's like, yeah, well, your world's in your phone, and the rest of the world moved on without you, woman. So you want to be with the family or not? If you want to be with the family, we need you to be present. We need you to be here. We need you to do these things. You don't have to be, but if you want to have a family, that's what you kind of have to do. I mean, that's what you signed up for. And so the second red flag is her interest level in you is dropped. And so what ends up happening is guys typically chase after his wife. So she'll lose her interest in her husband. Little short one-word comments. Yeah, honey, whatever. Yeah, sure, whatever. And then she's like, wow, that's weird. She just kind of keeps blowing me off. And so this was the first sign that I found when my ex-wife was cheating on me. She just started blowing me off because there's this coworker that she had, and she's starting an emotional affair with him. And I noticed it at the time, because she was training with him. And so I walked downstairs, and she was usually very happy to see me. I was like, hey, how you doing? You haven't, asking whatever. She's doing this teleconferencing thing, Zooms or whatever. And then she just kind of blew me off. And then she got back to it. She's giggling and laughing on here. And I was like, that's kind of weird. But I was like, well, she's super dialed in with me. I'm not going to worry about it. But the problem is back then, I didn't really understand this at all. I had hubris. In other words, I thought I knew more than I did, and I was acting with confidence that wasn't born out of competency, if that makes sense, right? That's like jumping off of a cliff without a parachute. I fucking got this, bro. We're going to aim for the bushes. It's like, yeah, that doesn't work that way. You have to actually have the competency to back up your confidence. If you don't, it's called hubris. And so that was what was happening. And then from that point on, she became less and less interested in me at all. She didn't really want conversation. She didn't really want to spend time with me. And in fact, what happened is I get these belittling comments and remarks, like I couldn't do anything right. And she would start arguments with me, which is red flag number 3. She picks fights with you. Most women will not break up with you directly. They would rather try to make you hate them so that you break up with them first. Crazy, I know, but this is what they do. I have yet to meet a woman who doesn't do this. So she's going to pick a lot of fights with you. She's going to make it seem like you don't want her anymore. She wins 2 ways when she does this. The first one is she can say that you just aren't compatible and that you're combative and that you're emotionally abusive, that you don't understand and all this stuff, even though she's the one picking the fights. And 2, if she can get you to break it off with her, then in her mind, everybody wins. She doesn't have to break up with you. She doesn't worry about your hurt feelings. She gets to go be with her dude, and then you get to move on. And then none's the wiser. This is her logic. And so this is what's happening there. So she'll just pick fights out of nowhere. And when she's picking fights out of nowhere, what she's doing is she's demonstrating that she's not on your team anymore. Like, what was it, Twilight, right? They're like on the team wolf or team vampire. You might be vampire and the other guy might be wolf, and she's just not on team vampire anymore. She's on team wolf. And so what ends up happening is you lose that connection that you had with her because she's pair bonding with the other guy and she's breaking the one with you. And so you're going to feel like, why is she so combative? And she's just not on my side anymore. We just can't seem to get on the same page. Yeah, because she's malleable in the way that her love is. She's taking her personality that was now dialed in with you, and now it's morphing to be more compatible with him. And so you're seeing this incompatibility in personality now because she's getting dialed in with the other guy. And so you're going to have more combativeness. And she's going to say, and everything that you do is just going to justify all the stories in her head about why you're not a good match for each other. And this is where these comments come. She's going to get irritated with you more, so she'll pick more fights. And she's like, yeah, see, he did put the dishes in the sink. This is exactly like he does. He thinks that I'm just going to come up behind him and clean up like his mother. And all this is just these stories that she's rewriting in her head to justify what she's doing. Justify being with the guy, to justify that you're not good for her anymore and that she has to get out of there and that somehow you're abusive and all this other bullshit. That's just what it is. And you don't have to play into it. In fact, you should never get into a combative fight with your wife. You should know where you're going, be magnanimous, and then have a directive of what's going to happen. That's generally what you do. So your wife is like really busy all the time, but her schedule doesn't really add up to why she's so busy. You're like, what's she so busy doing all the time? Usually it's because she's spending time with this other guy, so she's always crunched for time. She's spending time talking, texting to this guy, or seeing him, and now she's crunched for time all the time, which means she has this appearance of overwhelmed and on overdrive all the time because she's just not time managing very well. And then you try to figure out what she's up to and where she's going, and it's like, well, she's not where she says she is. You start getting lies about all kinds of little things, and this is a sure sign that something's going on. Like, your wife should not be lying to you at all about anything, not even little things. A good relationship is built on trust. And when lies start happening, the trust just falls apart. And so if there's any kind of lies in your relationship, it's just going to erode it. And a lot of people, they're like, well, I can't tell my husband this because I'm just embarrassed, or he'll get upset or mad. And just realize if you're a wife and you're doing this, those little things add up. If he catches you in one of these, he's going to immediately wonder what the fuck's going on with the relationship. And you don't need to have that. Guys are always suspicious on some level, is his wife going to cheat on him? This is biological in nature because we have this. We all have it. Women have it too. It's called mate protection. But for men, there's a part of their biology that sees a woman as like property in a sense. Not that he like thinks about her on the high level that as property. He doesn't think of her that way. But there's like this carnal like desire. Like, this is my woman. I got to protect her. She's under my wing. She's in my house. She's raising my kids, and she's my responsibility to take care of. And so there's all like this property level feeling that's there. Now he won't think in his head that she's his property, but there's this desire to take care of. And so you can see what I mean in this. And so what'll happen is he'll watch this happen and he'll want to protect it. He'll want to protect his property. This is why he'll like go after the other guy or something. He's like, he sees his wife as the one who is blameless, and he's like, the other guy seduced her away. The fifth red flag is she talks about other men a little too much. So typically a woman who has a lot of guy friends, they don't have a lot of girlfriends, they are pulling a lot of validation from men because it's easier for them to get along with men. And a lot of times they don't have girlfriends because the way that they engage with the men is borderline or completely inappropriate. And her girlfriends don't like it because what she'll do is she'll act that way towards the boyfriends, and she'll be like, I don't like Stacy because she makes these jokes to my boyfriend. And then because most guys don't get a lot of female attention, he just eats that shit up. And so she can't have female friends because she becomes a problem. She gets in the way of their relationship. She's always getting the validation from her girlfriend's men. And so this always becomes a problem. And so eventually she's just like, well, I don't have girlfriends. I don't get along with girls very much. I just like to hang out with the guys. And so this is definitely a red flag. And so one thing to be aware of is like, your wife should have her own social network. She should have her own friends and everything else like this. But you'll find that there'll be somebody that she gets really dialed into. It could be a guy friend. It could even be a girlfriend. Or it could be a guy friend that she's saying is a girlfriend. That could happen too. And she's talking about this person all the time. She can't help it because this is like the biggest thing on her mind. And this is the thing that she wants to talk about. So she has to talk about it. She has to get it out. She has to emote it. And so she'll do it in code or whatever. She'll do it in code by saying it's Stacy instead of a John. Or she'll talk about some guy over and over again, like, why are you talking about this guy? And there'll just be this sense of enamorment or admiration along with it. And this is where the guy gets his spidey senses go up, and he'll say, hey, what's going on with this guy? And she'll say, oh, it's nothing, we're just friends, and then all this stuff. And then it just keeps snowballing down from there. The problem is that this is prevented not through enforcement of your wife. This is prevented by operating differently. If you're operating in the way of a soul seducer, you're the kind of guy who exhibits both dominance and connection in his life, and he's got an FAFO attitude around what is acceptable in his life, but he's magnanimous, right? He's bringing his whole relationship to a higher level. Like, what is the magnanimous, what is the right way to approach things? And he enforces that in his relationship. And he gets with a woman who's highly compatible with him. And this woman now sees him and admires him and is devoted to him and appreciates him very much. And she sees him as the prize, so that she will make any changes necessary within herself to keep the relationship going. She will guard the relationship from other guys. And a woman who is with a guy like this, she just blossoms. She becomes more open, more free, more energetic, more happy. She does not get overdriven and just overwhelmed and stressed out all the time as a mom. And I know, because I have 3 boys and they're fucking maniacs and it's hilarious. And she gets stressed out a little bit, but she doesn't get overwhelmed like I see women do. Like, they get completely overwhelmed because she has this place of safety and love and acceptance. And so a woman in this environment, she really blossoms and she really comes into her own and comes out of her shell and becomes just even better. So when she gets this way, she's going to get more attention from guys just because of her personality opens up so much. And her beauty, her natural inner beauty starts to really shine, and guys want that. But guys don't know how to create that with their woman. And so when this happens, she pushes them off. She's not interested in those guys. Those guys didn't open her up. Those guys didn't make her blossom. I did. And so she wants to be with me, and she will do anything to protect the relationship. And if you want that, if you're in this place where your relationship's falling apart, maybe your wife's hiding her phone, maybe your wife has a new friend, and you're like suspicious of it, the incorrect move is to try to enforce the marriage on her. The right move is to become the soul seducer. In other words, be the seductive guy, the guy who creates and offers the most magical thing for her to want to be a part of. In other words, like the Lord of the Rings trailer. You've heard me make this example before. In the Lord of the Rings, they put a trailer up and you're like, that's a fucking awesome movie. I want to see that movie. That's seduction. Seduction is a pleasurable experience for everybody involved. There is no forcing. There is no manipulation. There is no trying to force somebody to do something or lie to them. It's not. It's very honest. That trailer was very honest. And then you were like, I'm going to go see that movie. The movie theater didn't come to your house and force you to buy a fucking ticket. No, you said, I'm going to go buy the ticket. And so you have to be like the movie trailer. And then your wife says, I'm going to buy that ticket. I'm going to be on his team. I'm going to go move towards him and push all the other guys out. And you know this intrinsically, that this is how women operate. This is why it fucking burns your ass so much when you see this. How is she getting on that guy's team all of a sudden? So if you want to learn how to do this, you want to turn it around in just a couple of weeks, a couple months, have her coming after you, check out the Soul Seducer program. It's in the link in the description below. If you like this video, hit like. This will also make it to where other men see this video who probably need it and they have no concept of what's happening in their relationship and they're just at the end of their rope. Do those guys a solid, hit the like button. And if you want to be notified that more of these come up, hit the subscribe button. And brother, I love you. I know you can do this. It's not easy, but being on the other side of this, there is no other way to operate. It is fucking fantastic, and it's everything you can imagine, I assure you. Anyways, brother, I look forward to getting to meet you and seeing you inside the program, and I'll see you in the next video.